A big difference in the election will be the position on the war in Iraq between whoever the Democratic candidate is and you. How do you define victory in Iraq, and how long do we wait till we know what it is?
We define victory by what's happening now. Casualties are eliminated, reduced gradually, and then eliminated. Americans withdraw to bases, and the Iraqis take over the responsibilities, which they are more and more as we speak. It's the classic counterinsurgency strategy, which has worked historically. Unfortunately, for a number of years, we used the wrong strategy, but this strategy is clearly succeeding, and unfortunately, neither one of the leading Democrat candidates will admit that.
So how long do we give it? And how do we define success? Is it
well, as I said, in Mosul today, as we speak, the bulk of the military operations and taking out al-Qaeda there are carried out by Iraqi troops, not American troops. The government is functioning effectively, and so we will be able to withdraw, and the key to it is elimination of American casualties, and we are showing significant improvement. Look, this is a hard war. Al-Qaeda's on the run. They're not defeated, but we are showing success. If we set a date for withdrawal, as the Democrats want to do, then Al-Qaeda will win, and we'll have chaos, genocide, and America will be back, and they will follow us home. That's what they say.
Obviously, the war is very, very expensive, separate from the lives and the injuries. The cost is very expensive, which gets to the question of taxes. You had opposed some of the Bush tax cuts in years gone by. Now you're saying need to make them permanent. Does that reconcile?
Well, we have economic difficulties. Nobody understands that better than the people here in Ohio. And if we don't make the tax cuts permanent, then we'll lay a tax increase on them. I had tax cut proposals of my own, but I had spending restraints associated with it. Unfortunately, we let spending get completely out of control. So I think the worst thing you can do is what the Democrats want to do, and that's raise people's taxes in difficult times, which we're in today.
I think the Republican Party in Ohio, arguably, is in somewhat of a negative situation. The election returns last time were not particularly good. And you see the Democrats are very, very energized, whoever the candidate is. Can you energize Republicans in Ohio? And how do you walk that line between playing to the conservative base that is the Republican Party and yet staying attractive to moderates, which has been your trademark over the years?
Well, we've been uniting the party. We still have some work to do, but in the last few primaries, we've got a bulk of the, quote, conservative voters, and I can unify the party. We've got a lot of work to do. Our base was de-energized over the spending, and there's no doubt about that, and we've got to commit to them. We'll stop that. I'll veto every earmark bill that comes across my desk. I've never accepted or asked for an earmark. Senator Obama, millions. Senator Clinton, hundreds of millions. So I'll be able to re-energize our party, but we've got a lot of work to do.
The next president will likely have the chance to make several Supreme Court nominations. Do you have a particular Supreme Court justice on there now that's the mold that you would like to replace, or would like to fit in? Tell me about that.
Sure. Justices Roberts and Alito, both. Justice Roberts may go down as one of the outstanding Supreme Court justices in history, in my view. I will nominate only judges who strictly interpret the Constitution of the United States and don't legislate from the bench.
The New York Times article, which was quite a tempest a week or so ago, can you reassure the voters that there was no improper political, I'm going to put the other thing aside, political influence efforts through you by this particular lobbyist and or the people she represented?
I can tell you that I addressed that issue completely in a press conference. I answered every question, and I don't talk about it anymore. That's what I can tell you.
One of the big issues, particularly in your state, and it's everywhere, but is immigration. I know you tried to work on an immigration reform that didn't work, or didn't work out politically. Can there be a successful immigration reform which maintains security and at the same time does not demonize people who simply are trying to come here for a better life?
Yeah, because we have to secure the borders, and then we will have a legal way of people coming here, of legal immigration, but we have to secure the borders first. As president, I would have the border states' governors certify that their borders are secure. I come from a border state. We know the penalties and the tragedies that ensue when you have broken borders. So we've got to do that first. then a temporary worker program that has to do with tamper-proof biometric documents, etc. But first, the borders have to be secure.
Foreclosure is obviously a huge issue everywhere, but particularly in a state like Ohio. Is there a solution, and also is there a solution that does not force taxpayers who didn't make a speculative mortgage, just paid their bills like everybody else? Why should those folks bail out people who made bad decisions?
Well, they shouldn't, and that's why we have to try to, as much as possible, address some of these on an individual basis. But there's so many, 2 million across this country. We've got to accelerate the process that's going on of negotiations between the FHA, other agencies of governments, lenders, and borrowers. But this is a very tough situation, particularly in the heartland, Ohio, Michigan, etc. And we are going to have to probably take additional measures because it's a very, very big problem. I noticed in the newspaper this morning another 17% is off the value of homes in this state.
I guess I was told I got time for one more question,
sure.
So here it is. I mean, think back to everything that you endured in the war, as a prisoner, and here you are, virtually the nominee and potentially the president. In your wildest dreams, I know survival was your wildest dream back then, but in your wildest dreams at that time, could you project forward and see yourself in this position?
No, all I wanted to do was get out of there, but I'm the luckiest person that you'll ever interview. I've been very fortunate in my life, and I'm very humbled at this prospect, but we've worked very hard, too.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.